tired of it.
Right.
As phenomenal as these movies were and are, the white people are the superheroes of that story.
Right.
We always have
And
the
they're
white
heroes of
savior,
other people's
somebody coming
stories
along.
too, because Last Samurai, I'm looking at you.
Hello. But yeah, that's why it's so important that we have films like this exist, because without them, there's nothing that is going to help inspire people. There is nothing that's going to help us as a people. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't really have anything to identify ourselves with over the last 20, I want to say at least the last 20, 30, 40 years, outside of it being nothing but slavery.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Outside of like historical figures and
exactly,
so on and so forth.
Exactly.
The superhero thing is so important. Because
exactly.
Yeah, because one of the things that I learned like from like a writing from one of my professors in college, right? I was still in high school because I was doing dual enrollment, but my college professor was like, because I asked him for writing advice because he's a published author, and one of the things he said was that with a fantastical sort of setting, you can speak more honestly about certain issues, because it was a story that I was writing with supernatural elements, and one of the main topics was bullying, right?
Yeah.
And so it's kind of getting at this, where it's kind of similar with this, where it's like this fantastical element, which is the superheroes and the powers and all this other stuff and the magic, but you can speak more honestly about real world issues through that lens. And like, I get what some people are talking about, like, where it's like, oh, why is it so necessary for role models for people to have representation in these movies and be role models for kids and blah blah blah. Okay, I understand your point. However, it is important for kids to see themselves in.
Exactly.
Because granted, kids aren't going to be thinking into it as deeply as we are, because we're adults. Right? They're just going to be seeing, oh, that's cool. That person looks like me.
Exactly.
Right? They're just thinking, they're not thinking that deeply into it. But you also have to understand the ramifications of that lone thought, right? Because if they're seeing themselves as the superhero, right, it's kind of opening that door for them to be thinking, okay, maybe I could be a superhero too. Because let's be real, kids don't always think, oh yeah, this superhero, it's totally fake. There are some kids out there that are going to be thinking, oh yeah, this is totally possible. Because kids aren't limited by reality. They think that anything is possible, especially when you're a small kid, unless, because usually it's adults that come in and crush our dreams and be like, oh, you can't do
for real.
Let's be real. And adults are the ones that push reality onto us and crush our dreams and say that, oh, this isn't real, this isn't possible, this is impossible, right? We have the audacity to tell our children and perpetuate this impossibility. This is not possible. None of this stuff's possible, and push that onto our kids, onto the youth. It's kind of ironic. But I get what people are saying, that it is important to see themselves as superheroes and just positive things, because it opens that door for those kids that don't necessarily get those things from the people in their lives, because there's a lot of kids out there that don't get positive reinforcement from the adults in their lives. So they turn to fantasy, whether that be through books, whether that be through movies, TV shows, music, whatever the case is. They turn to alternative sources, typically fantasy, to get that positive reinforcement, to get those positive things of, oh, you can be something, you can be somebody. So that's part of why it's important. So I understand why, again, I understand both points. I'm a very open-minded person, but
I am too.
This is why it's important for the children, not just for adults that are, you know, healing from whatever childhood trauma. It's also important for the kids.
Right.
It's also important for the kids because of those reasons. Because not every family is going to have that. Not every child is going to have that positivity in their lives that they need.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but it's just the reality of things, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So. Yeah. I just feel like my point still stands. You know what I'm saying? My point still stands. I still believe that, one, this film is important. People aren't going to understand. At this point, this is a very important film for everyone. It doesn't have any age limit to it. It's just very important for everyone. Whether, you know how many, you could cut this out. You know what? I don't even care. It was so many people in there talking about how good the film was.
Right.
It's everybody in there like, oh my God. Everybody, man, woman, child, whatever.
Various
you know what I'm saying?
Hues and colors, okay.
Yes. Because they was up in there. When you think they wasn't up in there, oh, they was up in there.
Right.
They was up in there in groups. Like, everybody was in there enjoying the movie for what it was. It's not because, oh, it's another Marvel movie. We got to catch up. We got to be in sync. No. It's because the one, out of respect for a specific person, Chadwick Boseman, and really and truly being like, okay, now I can go see the movie.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now I can actually say I'm ready as a person that did not know him. I'm ready now.
I think
you know what I'm saying?
Was that respect for him too, because he had a huge impact with the first Black Panther, but he really made his mark in Hollywood too. So
he did.
It's the representation and everything. I'm just here for it.
I just love it. I just love it. It made my heart smile because I was just like, oh my gosh, yes, more cultures, you know. And you know me, I love anything that involves other cultures. Yeah. Because now I'm gonna be Googling. I'm going to be potentially finding more books on some of this stuff and learning more about history. Right. You know what I'm saying? Of another culture.
It's interesting. Like, I don't know if you saw the Miss Marvel TV series, but I learned something new watching that. Because as far as Pakistan and India, I didn't know that they were one country at one point. But due to colonialism, they were split apart because of the Muslim population. Basically, based on what they said, I don't know how accurate this is to real life.
Right.
But from what they said in the show, it was kind of like the country was split into the Muslims on one side and everybody else on the other side.
Wow.
Basically, whole families were like ripped apart because, you know, obviously you know, you have people that don't want to move from their homeland, their home forever, but simply because they believe in a different religion, now all of a sudden they have to like pick up and move, you know. So then you had families that were separated, and that's like crazy to me.
That is wild, though.
And that's all because of British rule. Based on what they were talking about.
We got to figure out how true that is. But if that's the case,
it's interesting that it makes me want to actually like look into it some more. But and then, you know, the cultural things, it was really beautiful to see that kind of stuff. Whereas, like, you know, the outfits, and then you know, the music and the language and how they speak to each other, how they refer to each other with like their honorifics or whatever the case is. And you know, that was a cool thing to like kind of expose more people to, you know, that culture. Of course, you did have people that were up in arms about it because they're like, oh my god, they're making a Miss Marvel with a Muslim Pakistani girl from a Pakistani Muslim girl from Jersey, and like, I'm just sitting here like, because it's, of course, this is just regular MCU fans that never open a comic book, don't know that Kamala is actually Miss Marvel in the comics. Like, this isn't just a diversity hire. This is an actual character in the Marvel universe. Like,
but sometimes people don't do a lot of things. They don't do their research.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
The point of her taking up the moniker of Miss Marvel is because that's who she admired. So she took up the mantle. It's not just somebody saying, oh, let's just do a recolor of this character. No, she uses the moniker Miss Marvel because that's who inspired her. Miss Marvel. That's like her hero.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. It's not like you know, let's just put a whole character, let's make a whole new character with this specific character's name or whatever. She's her own character. She just uses the name because, you know, that's her hero.
Right. But yeah. I just think that this is all really and truly important, and more people are gonna have to understand that. And I don't want any more celebrities. Okay, so I'm gonna address this part. This is for my boy Simu. Just don't say anything else, because it's always going to look like, it's always going to turn out and look like you're the problem every time, because it almost looks like, oh, you're injecting yourself in all this stuff. Yes, okay, I have an opinion, and nobody's telling you that you can't have an opinion. Everybody's just trying to tell you that, sir, it's better to be seen and not heard, because you don't fit the standard for what people believe to be good looking or aesthetically pleasing,
right,
and whatnot within the film industry, does not mean that you should choose to get on the internet and say something about it. Just prove people wrong. That's all you have to do. You know what you look like when you get up in the morning. You know what you look like when you're on the camera. Get your role. And then you know what you could do? Prove people wrong. I'm not telling him like that little white lady told LeBron, shut up and dribble. I'm just saying, prove people wrong. Sometimes you can voice your opinion, and look how they did Letitia. She voiced her opinion and people were dragging her through the mud. Sometimes
mode of action is,
it's dangerous if you're spreading if you're spreading the wrong if you're spreading the wrong piece of information out here in these streets, it can be very dangerous.
Right.
However, if you're enlightening people on different things, okay, cool. If you're taking a certain course of action that is beneficial to your health, mental health, overall health, gut health, I don't care what it is, then you're sharing your little piece 1-2 insight. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes it's better to be left in a journal, video diary, somewhere else, your neighbor's backyard, you know what I'm saying? In a rose bush.
Message in a bottle.
Hello? Something. Sometimes, even if you want to sing it to the moon, you know what I'm saying?
Talking to the moon.
Hello?
No Mars.
No Bruno Mars. But even if, you know, whatever course of action you take, just as long as you don't hop on nobody's internet and start saying things, people won't start looking at you sideways. Because that's going to do what? Create more problems.
To talk about that whole thing with Simu, it's kind of like people all, regardless of what he has to say, people are always gonna bring up stuff about him.
Exactly.
You know? So at this point, it's kind of like, you know, people are gonna respond, and I get that he probably has like, I don't give a fuck kind of, you know,
right
about him, because I mean, he's an Aries, so you know, that fire energy right there. But anyway,
right.
He probably is gonna give that when they respond about him and stuff like that. But it's like, sometimes it's one of the things we learn as kids from the elders. You know, sometimes it's better to just keep your mouth shut.
Hello. Save it for a rainy day.
In an insulting way. Sometimes
it's
better to just be quiet and observe.
Exactly. Because sometimes it's better to just do whatever it is you need to do. Even if you feel like somebody ain't doing something right, or somebody is doing something that is just not, you know, and something that you agree with.
To speak on his like current, his most recent statement in regards in response to the whole Martin Scorsese and Quentin Tarantino comments, most recently Quentin Tarantino. I saw this TikTok of someone talking about it. I think I linked you to it, but
yeah, you did.
Her point is completely valid. Everybody's holding up.
Yeah,
and I love Marvel. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
but everybody's holding Marvel up as this paragon of diversity. But in reality, are they giving opportunities to diverse casts and films and stuff? Yes, they are. We see that they are doing that. But what's making these franchises a success are the people that want to see that on screen. The people who are going into the theaters, paying for the tickets. Those and the communities. Surrounding these films. Those are the ones that are making these things a success. Because if they didn't, you know how fast Disney is a corporation.
They would have crashed and burned a long time ago.
This whole diversity thing, making sure that you know, they actually cast Asian actors in Shang-Chi. They actually cast Black people of African descent in Black Panther. People who are of indigenous and of Latino descent in as the Talukans in Wakanda Forever. Like all of those things, actual people, Pakistani people for Miss Marvel, for example. All of those things. The only reason why they're sticking to it is because of us. We are the ones that are, because it's profitable for it. We're the ones that are like, I don't want to see freaking Brad Pitt as Shang-Chi.
Please, if they would have, please,
like,
please.
The community are the ones that are saying that.
Because hold on, I'm gonna cut you off because you literally put that doggone image in my head, and I am pissed. Do you hear me? Pissed. Right. Could you imagine him doing that bus scene, fighting, and hair's moving all over his face?
No, or like friggin' Tom Cruise is Shang-Chi. Like, no.
Oh God, please.
I'm putting all sorts of
please stop screaming all these people's names. Please.
I mean, it's kind of like how people were campaigning for Danny Rand, for Louis Tan to play Danny Rand in the Iron Fist show. Right. But they're seeing the impact of like how social medias and these communities of people are like, hey, we want to see someone who's actually from this culture playing this character. Because again, I mean, granted, possibly cancel culture might have something to do with it as well. But I think a vast majority of it is people saying, this is what we want to see. And then them using that information to determine what they're going to do. Because
if
people say, okay, this is what I want to see, this is what I'm going to pay money for, that can act as like a litmus test to be like, okay, this is what may potentially be profitable. Because let's be real, they're a corporation, they're a business. First and foremost, they're about making money. What's going to make money is this, right? So the communities are the ones that are saying, oh, this is what I want to see, this is what I'm going to pay money to see, and then they follow through with their word and say, this is what I wanted, this is what I'm paying for, I like what I paid for, then that's what they're going to follow through with.
That's why it's so important for these corporations, these production companies, and whoever's funding anything to listen to the audience. That's why they always tell you to listen, whether you're writing a book or whatever, TV show, whatever.
Who's your target
listen
audience?
To you. Exactly. Who's your target audience? Listen to your audience. That's why social media, although it's a blessing and a curse, it still helps people. Because you're still going and looking, okay, for Black Panther. What are people asking for? You know what I'm saying? Don't let the character, die out, blah, blah, blah.
Right? Or don't recast him.
Exactly.
Right? That was a whole campaign.
Prior to the
movie coming out, where it's like, please don't recast T'Challa. They followed through with that, where they said, we're not recasting T'Challa.
Right.
Because of respect for Chadwick, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably going to be the same thing with any other character. People are probably going to say, we don't want to recast Iron Man. The only person we could ever see is Robert Downey Jr.
Exactly.
That they may eventually delve into X-Men, putting X-Men into the MCU, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some people may very well say, I can't see anybody other than Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, but I mean, obviously he's getting up there in age, so
Yeah. I don't think you want to do Wolverine right now, Mom. I think he tapped out, bruh.
But eventually, at some point, he can't do the things he used to.
I think at this point, my boy is like, how many more X-Men films y'all gonna do?
So into like doing his little musical thing, because he was in The Greatest Showman.
Yeah,
I think he did Les Miserables or
yeah. I think he did some yeah.
That's how it's shortened. And I think he still does. I think he does like some Broadway stuff too. So I think he's on his whole.
Listen, he's getting his la 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 on right now and getting that la 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 money because they get hefty.
He's getting la 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 lots of money.
Hello. Shoot, and it's falling into that bank account. Okay, that wallet is thick.
Getting them stacks. Okay.
But anyway. Okay. But all I got to say about that whole Simu thing, final remarks, is bruh, just do what you need to do, make the impact, change lives, and keep it moving.
Right.
There's nothing left for you to do except for
careful about what you're saying.
Exactly.
Because, like, I get it. You are trying to be transparent. I totally understand.
Right.
Just being totally transparent, totally unfiltered, and all this other stuff. And being a complete problem for your publicist. I mean that when you put stuff on social media, you are going to be promptly crucified. Regardless, and you're going to see that regardless of what you say.
And whether you delete it or not, it's still going to be on the internet.
And yes, exactly.
So it'll never go away. Yeah. It's always going to get thrown back to you. And keep in mind, if you are selected to be in a Quentin Tarantino or Martin Scorsese film, keep in mind they're going to ask you about this stuff.
Right.
And keep in mind that some of these people know people that you work with. And that is another reason why you don't say stuff at all. Yeah, because these people know people.
In that regard. It's small.
Exactly. It's super small.
People be knowing people and so on and so forth.
And then that's when
got time for your bag to be messed up. I'm just
exactly, and that's one of the reasons why some people be feeling like they get mistreated on set because of something that they said or didn't say.
Yeah, we don't want to hear no news about that. Okay, we don't want to hear no news about that.
And then you already know how to fight, so it would be unfair if somebody's bent up in the corner like a pretzel.
We ain't trying to hear nothing about Simu on set throwing hands because somebody said some
Nuck if you buck energy. Okay. Yeah, we don't need that. And we don't need him.
We don't.
The nuck if you buck energy.
Doing a thing for the Asian representation.
Exactly.
We don't need you to do all of that.
You're making your mark right now. The only thing that you need to be concerned about is filming the next Shang-Chi film and whatever other. We're going to cut this conversation short, y'all. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. Don't know when this is going to drop, but we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Turn that notification bell on. Zing. And we will catch you guys.
And
hello.
Anything that we have mentioned in this video will be linked in the description down below, along with our social medias. Also linked down below. And we will see you in the next video. Peace.